Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 Today.
Good morning. Welcome to NBC 16 Today. I'm Lily Taylor. I hope you enjoyed your holiday weekend. It's already December 1st. We'll get to our top stories in just a moment, but first, let's check in with Brianna Chavez, who has a look at our weather forecast this morning.
Over the last couple of hours, we really haven't seen much activity in the form of wind speeds. I mean, patchy dense fog or even a little bit of moisture. And into the early morning hours, we see that similar pattern across our western valleys and into our coastline. As far as how much cooler we are, well, now we're starting to see a lot more of that purple and blue work its way into that 24-hour temperature change map. And we see that consistency not just throughout the early morning hours, but expecting it into the afternoon. As far as exactly how we're going to trend that way throughout the afternoon, well, we cap it off in the mid to upper 40s for majority of the Willamette and Umpqua valleys, getting a little bit of some sunshine here and there, but quite frankly, into the overnight hours tomorrow early morning is where we continue to see that push for cooler, but not quite as cloudy. We'll break down exactly what your week is looking like coming up in that full forecast ahead.
Thank you, Bree. We now take you to two live shots this morning. On the left, of course, you see and recognize our Eugene Airport. Then on the right is the Portland Airport. As you can tell, very, very busy at Portland. Eugene looks like we're smooth sailing. About 30 minutes ago, that TSA line was growing, so definitely not super in the clear. But as you can tell on Portland side, it's a busy start there at the airport this morning. Several people covering that big story. One thing to keep in mind if you are flying out of Eugene, looks like you'll be okay. But if you have that connecting flight, maybe you're going to Portland and traveling somewhere else in the nation, that's where you're going to want to check those delays. Specifically, anywhere in the Midwest, they got hit with a lot of snow over the weekend and expecting another round this morning. So in Portland, they're already seeing a cancellation to the Chicago O'Hare Airport. So again, as things look relatively smooth and calm here at Eugene, definitely not in the clear if you're going somewhere further in the nation. But other than that, the roadways are looking clear. That's also going to be another impactful mode of traveling coming up this morning as more people wake up. But as of right now, there's no traffic delays or accidents to slow you down. You're just really going to want to pack your patience this morning. A lot of people traveling home after that holiday weekend. Thank you, LSB, for that check-in. And we now continue with the investigation into last week's shooting of two National Guard members stationed in Washington, D.C. The suspect has been identified as an Afghan national who worked with the CIA in Afghanistan and later came to the country seeking asylum in 2021. Authorities say they believe he was radicalized after that. Speaking on ABC, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem confirms the Trump administration granted the suspect asylum earlier this year. But she says the Biden administration was in charge of the vetting process.
These individuals that were brought in and then vetted on information that was gathered by the Biden administration that wasn't thorough. And so now we're completely changing that.
Federal prosecutors say they will charge the suspect with first-degree murder. National Guard member Sarah Beckstrom died last week, and National Guard member Andrew Wolf is still hospitalized. Now, President Donald Trump commenting on the hospitalized National Guard member Andrew Wolf, saying he's still clinging on to life.
Andrew is fighting for his life, and his parents are unbelievably great people, highly religious people. And they're praying, and they want everybody to pray for Andrew, and he has a chance to make it.
Last Wednesday, the 24-year-old U.S. Air Force Staff Sergeant was shot in Washington, D.C., along with another member who tragically died on Thanksgiving. Both members were deployed from West Virginia to the nation's capital as part of the president's tough crime fighting plan. Trump says he invited both families to the White House to honor the Guard members. Happening today, the Newport City Council is set to hear from the public as concern over a plan to build an ICE facility there continues. Last week, we brought you new evidence showing the intent by the federal government. As of this morning, the proposed detention facility is not listed on the City Council's agenda for its meeting today. However, there is an opportunity for public comment at the end, so we will continue to follow new developments and bring you the latest updates as they come in. And also starting today, millions of Americans will face new work requirements for SNAP food aid. Prior to the change, able-bodied people without dependents could only get SNAP for 3 months over 3 years unless they work, train, or volunteer for 80 hours a month. The government is now raising the age threshold for exemptions from 55 to 64. In addition, parents whose children are 14 or older, unhoused people, veterans, and young adults aging out of foster care will no longer be exempt from the requirements. The change is part of a budget cut to the program that passed last summer. Public transport along the coast is receiving a facelift to the tune of nearly $9 million. A new transit center and multimodal hub is in the works, with plans to be more accessible to the general public. Dan Kelly sat down with the general manager of Coos County Area Transit to understand the need and learn about the upgrades being worked on.
A shelter, to a place to sit down, to have a restroom, to have the real-time information available for arrivals and departures is just going to be so much more helpful.
Those are just some of the benefits Coos County Area Transit General Manager Melissa Metz says will be available at the new hub. Other upgrades include security upgrades, including lighting and cameras, an improvement over the current facility on Ocean Boulevard.
When all of our buses are present, there's no place for our employees to park. And it's an active bus yard, and so it's not the safest place for the general public to come in and get services.
She says the new facility will be able to not only allow parking for all the buses and employees, but will also offer more parking for the general public. There are currently 3 lines operated by Coos County Area Transit: the Coos Bay Red Line, the North Bend Green Line, and the Charleston Blue Line. The meetup spot for the buses is currently the Walmart parking lot, which Metz says isn't ideal.
We really need a facility that is co-located where our customers are actually transferring so that we can provide the best service that we can.
The new space is expected to be acquired in January, with planning and construction expected to be wrapped up in the summer of 2027.
It's just going to be a win-win for the community.
Reporting in Coos Bay, I'm Dan Kelly.
Well, whether it's planes, trains, or automobiles, no matter your mode of transportation, pack your patience today. And on top of all that, winter weather moves into some areas across the country on the busiest holiday travel day so far. The commute could make it tricky for some, as many are heading back home from Thanksgiving holiday celebrations. Jessica Albert is talking to travelers as some of them have dealt with delays.
Nearly 82 million people traveled for the Thanksgiving holiday, according to AAA. And now that the holiday has come and gone, it's time for folks to head home. AAA says 90% of those people will drive, making the roads busy, especially with the winter weather that is hitting parts of the country.
We're used to snow and driving in snow, so I'm not too concerned.
About 6 million people traveled by plane, so we checked in at Reagan National Airport to see how things were going.
I think everything is pretty smooth. I was a little worried coming here, but once I came here and saw it wasn't that bad.
Since there is snow in some parts of the country, we are seeing delays in places like Chicago and Columbus, Ohio, and in Detroit. Now, is it snowing where you're going?
Yeah, it's big storm there. So I'm kind of scared my plan gonna be delayed.
I see on the board that there's a flight to Detroit delayed. Is that your flight?
Most likely.
Were you worried about travel? Because I've seen photos of Michigan. There's snow on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really worried. I think that we should get there safely.
Maya Bretsky is headed back to college after spending Thanksgiving here. She had some trouble flying into the area.
I traveled here on Tuesday night, and that flight got delayed a lot too.
We spoke with a lot of college students and people who are used to flying home for the holidays, like Kaylin Freeman.
Coming from the Atlanta airport, it can get a little crazy, but I haven't had too much bad luck going through it on the holidays.
So if you're planning to travel home on Monday, AAA says the worst time to travel is between noon and 8 p.m., but the best time to travel is after 8 p.m.
Well, now's your chance to play holiday trivia. Grab your phone right now and scan this QR code, for your chance to win a $100 prepaid debit card. Sign in, get the trivia question right, and you could win the daily $100 prize. The daily prize winners will also be eligible for a chance to win the national $5,000 drawing. So again, scan this QR code and sign in to play holiday trivia.